Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac,
I'm Wesley.
and this is the show.
What's
Don't
going on,
forget
my guy?
to, nothing, I'm chilling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast or our show
Hit
with
that
everybody.
notification button.
Thank you all for tuning in and dealing with us. Don't forget our sponsor, Doc Loves the Kids. You check them out at doclovesthekids.org. Has a lot of stuff with all the proceeds go to help the less fortunate.
And the kids in the community, we appreciate you for all your support. Let's start this show off, man, with a report from Gaza. Devastating Israeli raid to free 4 hostages kills 270 plus Palestinians, man. And one of the
how many did they kill? My bad.
270 plus. You know, that's to free 4 people. And we're going to talk more about it, but in one of the single bloodiest Israeli attacks in Gaza over the last 8 months, at least 274 Palestinians were killed, including at least 64 children, and nearly 700 were wounded in a raid on the Nuseirat refugee camp on Saturday that freed 4 Israeli-held hostages in Gaza since October 7th. Children were shot dead. Elderly people were shot dead. Women were shot dead, says the Gaza-based journalist Akram al-Satarri, who was at the Nuseirat refugee camp on Saturday, speaking to us from outside the Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir, al-Balah, which I'm sure I got some of that wrong, but bear with me. One of the last remaining hospitals that are partially functioning in Gaza. Al-Satarri says the death toll is rising by the minute as wounded Palestinians aren't able to receive the care they need. Also discusses the World Food Program's recent suspension of aid operations in Gaza City and Israel's withholding of aid on the entire Gaza Strip. Man,
they could have told all the people to get down and lay on the ground.
I mean, I don't know if that would have been as easy as that, because I mean, there was some fighting going on. I guess it was 2 hours of fighting going on to go and free the hostages. I understand they, you know, the Americans, I guess we gave them some information that helped in this raid. But to me, the timing of all of this just feels strange, man. Because okay, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, Benny Gantz, who's the defense minister,
centrist member of Israel's the 3-man war cabinet. He announced his resignation on Sunday.
Let me but he actually told him 2 weeks ago that he was going to be he would be leaving the cabinet by June 8th if they didn't have a plan for the day after in Gaza. And so he told Netanyahu this, and he told him he needed to step down as well. But he told him 2 weeks ago. And so now I believe this was maybe possibly a day or so before, 2 days ago, this happened. And like happened a day or two before he was supposed to step down. Now all of a sudden you free 4 hostages, and then Netanyahu goes on Twitter or somewhere and he types in, this isn't the time for for division and for dissolution, of the cabinet. You should basically telling, Benny Gantz to stay. But a day before he's supposed to.
They know where all those hostages are. There's probably 5 left that they probably need to pull out.
There's still over 100 and something hostages. There's still a good amount of hostages left.
They know where they're all at. They know how to get to them. They're trying to kill all the Palestinians. You know what I'm saying? And America's gonna let it happen because America has plans to do it themselves. They're gonna kill these immigrants. They're gonna kill everybody depending on who gets in the office. They're gonna kill all their enemies and everybody, and then make up all these. Oh, they have tunnels underground.
I just feel like Netanyahu, like you said, he knows where these hostages are.
Yeah.
And it's a strange time. And the day before this guy's supposed to, he already told you that he was going to step down. You find 4 hostages, then you ask him pretty much not to step down and make him look like he's, he had to postpone his announcement just so he wouldn't take away from the, from the announcement of the hostages being freed, and let people live in that joy and that pride of, okay, we got hostages home. But even after the hostages were announced being freed that day, I believe it was Saturday or wherever, they still had huge protests throughout the city on that night. From a bunch of Jewish people went into the streets in Tel Aviv and protested outside. Tens of thousands of people were outside there spraying with water guns.
They have to live with the aftermath of what he's doing. This is leaving a bad taste in the world's mouth.
And everybody's mouth. You know what I'm saying? And it's just gotten to a point where you killed 270 people plus people.
Women, children, old people, men.
You should have seen the carnage. That's one thing if we get a clip of it, the carnage from it, the children who were just it's bad, bro. I mean, you watching babies. They got babies laid out on the ground, man. Little kids, little girls, little boys. You know, it's just like, when is enough going to be enough? A person came on our one of our viewers came on the page and left a comment, basically said that, you guys are supposed to live in a democracy, but Israel basically runs you guys, runs your foreign policy and your domestic policy. And they laughed and I put a LOL. And I don't know where this person's from, but obviously it didn't sound like, they're from America. But it's hard to defend that. It's hard to
Yeah,
say that it's not
you
true.
can't defend it, man. Like I had a guy come on, and I think I shared the video with you where he went in front of everybody and he explained even about COVID. He said all the people that run the CDC have dual citizenship with Israel. So it's like, like every last one of them. And so I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's crazy. I looked it up myself and I was like, no, this is ridiculous. How are you having a dual citizenship and you're running anything in our government?
You look at, I mean, our like large pieces of our people who run our government are from cabinet members and people who are not necessarily the House members or the Senate members, people who just work, staffers who work behind the scenes. Large portion of these people are Jewish. This is not to say that we're not against Jewish people at all. This is not about that. But things tend to be kind of strange when all the messaging is on point with what these people want to do from this country, a foreign country. That's what the problem is. The problem is not the people who live here. The problem is that the people who live here are taking cues from a foreign government. And we would look at Donald Trump differently when we felt like he took cues from Russia. We looked at him funny. We looked at him differently. So why shouldn't we do the same thing for anyone else who's from somewhere else who's not doing what America?
It's weird, and they shut it down. They try to hide it. I mean, even think about Hollywood. You know who runs that? And then, it's kind of crazy how all the pedophile stuff just kind of goes away, like Epstein's Island, all the stuff that goes on in Hollywood with all the children being molested, and it kind of just goes away. Like I ain't pointing fingers, but you put 2 + 2 = 4.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's just gotten to a point to where we can't keep on looking over this and acting like we don't really see the truth about what's happening.
I'm saying that they slaughtered 240 people, got rid of the media, and the U.S. can't even stop them. So what happens when they decide to come after us? Which they've come after the Black Americans, African Americans. They've even said it. They need to take our youth out, and destroy them mentally. So I mean, it's rest of America needs to, like, I guess, wake up and realize, that these people that are running our government aren't for us. They're for a foreign entity.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point to where we can't even trust what our government's even doing anymore, especially not when it comes to Israel. I've never, like I said, we've talked about this 100 times. We've never seen our government walk in lockstep with someone and not question them. 274 people, man. That's
a lot
crazy.
Of killing.
That's crazy. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the Benny Gantz and really looking at trying to figure out, why did he really leave? What was it? I know his purpose of it. He said basically that he felt like Netanyahu didn't have a day after plan. He didn't have a plan to exit Gaza, and Netanyahu said, he's
trying to kill everybody, so there's no witnesses to come back and tell anybody about what they've been doing, how the people were treated, how they're killing women, children, raping women and children, doing all this stuff. And he knows that the high court, the ICC, International Criminal Court, is coming from him. No matter how much America tries to sanction the court, you know what I'm saying, they're still going to come for him. They're going to be charged with war crimes, just like the Nazis.
This dude basically said that, I mean, Netanyahu was basically like, we're going to think about what we'll do the day after when we finish with Hamas.
Yeah, he knows they're going to move in. That's what they're going to do.
This is their exact plan. I mean, one of their their far right, one of these guys, I can't remember his name. He's demanding to be a part of the cabinet now, and he's one of their far right religious zealots. Let's call him what he is. But Benny Gantz basically why the departure of the Israeli war cabinet member Benny Gantz does and doesn't matter. Gone from the war cabinet, gone from the government. Benny Gantz is back where he was at the start of the war. Hamas launched on October 7th. I don't call it a war. This is these people talking, saying it's a war. This is an attack. But also, Hamas did attack Israel first. Let's be clear. They did. An ex-defense minister, ex-chief of staff, and Prime Minister is Benjamin Netanyahu's chief political rival. You can't say he didn't warn us. On May 18th, he announced that if Netanyahu didn't come up with a coherent plan to bring the hostages home and the governance of a post-war Gaza, among other things, then he'd leave the war cabinet by June 8th. In light of Saturday's rescue of 4 Israeli hostages, he delayed making good on his threat by 1 day. Now, think about that. Like we just had talked about, leaving the government is a complex and painful decision, Gantz said in a televised statement on Sunday evening in Israel. Netanyahu prevents us from moving forward to a real victory in Gaza. That is why we are leaving the emergency government today with a heavy heart, but with a whole heart. And so this is a person who I feel like at the end of the day, he understands that Netanyahu is making them less safe. He knows that right now he's being controlled by the far right of this government, and it's just not working out for him. So I'm happy that he left. I'm happy that he left in a protest kind of a way. But basically on the day that he's supposed to leave, you all of a sudden have knowledge of 4 hostages. We help you with reconnaissance. We tell you, we sent our drones have been flying over the area the entire time. So this is another thing they said too. We've been having drones flying over this area the entire time. We're recording everything. So you're seeing everything that's really going on. So all the lies Israel's telling you, we know what's really happening, because they just admitted today that this is how we found out where the hostages were, because we gave them intelligence on from our drones.
I mean, Israel really didn't say nothing when America was slaughtering Iraqis and people in Afghanistan for 20 years.
But they wanted that to happen. That's something that Iraq was a prime enemy of Israel. Saddam Hussein, hated Israel. They wanted us to get rid of that problem. Afghanistan, they didn't care about that. That was just a breeding ground for terrorists at that point in time. They didn't have any real military.
And I mean, what's the true definition of a terrorist? You know what I'm saying? If you're in your homeland, like that's like in America, it's like you're in your homeland, you don't like what's going on. A foreign government comes in there and starts overtaking you, and you want to fight back. You know what I'm saying? Out here, we call them Minuteman and freedom fighters, but the other side is going to call them terrorists
and insurgents. They're gonna call you an insurgent. If someone were to come into America and we were to fight back, they would call the insurgency. They would call us insurgents. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you got to be careful about what they say about you and how they label these people, especially in these countries, man. I just think about. I can't imagine sleeping, just hearing bombs dropping, drones flying overhead, people coming in. 240 people. That's like someone going to a youth basketball game and shooting everybody in there because they saved 4 basketballs.
Absolutely, and that's pretty much what it sounds like. You know what I mean? So. That's a tough one, man. It's just something I really felt like we needed to really keep on point with, because 270, man, that's just today. It said over 37,000 people are dead, in this conflict. I mean, as it stands. So, we can move on, but
yeah. Well, I want to talk about what happened over here in Wisconsin. It says at least 12 people were injured when gunfire broke out on a rooftop of an apartment building in Madison, Wisconsin. One of 3 separate shootings that left 1 person dead and more than a dozen injured in the city over the weekend. And a dozen victims, some as young as 14 years old, have now reported injuries after the rooftop shooting early Sunday morning. And 2 are still hospitalized, and the suspect is still at large. People have a lot of things to say, about gun crime in America and how bad it is. But that kind of keeps the foreigners at bay, first of all. And second, it's like, there's millions. I say this, it's really tragic to happen. I hope everybody recovers here. I hope they catch the shooter. But the thing is, for me, like even now they're trying to ban guns. Let me read this one to you. They brought out a law recently that they're trying to. It's a new law seeks to ban nearly all modern firearms in the U.S. It's the bill HR 8600 was introduced to the House of Representatives, aiming to ban nearly all firearms, all modern firearms, known as Go Safe Act. The legislation, originally presented in the Senate in November 2023, seeks to impose severe restrictions on gas-operated firearms and any firearm capable of holding more than 10 rounds.
Really?
Yes. And so this is the whole thing. American people have guns. The thing, instead of trying to prevent gun violence, maybe you should just make it harder on the people that commit gun violence that aren't supposed to own guns.
What do you mean by that? That's because I mean they've already set up systems where there's background checks, there's felonies.
And think about it. Okay, background checks, felonies, cool. Now I'm gonna buy an illegal gun off the streets. I know I'm not supposed to have a gun. Buy an illegal gun off the street. I commit a crime. Oh damn! Look at this criminal that wasn't supposed to have a gun in the first place got a gun. So let's make more restrictions on the people that can legally buy the guns. It doesn't make any sense. Make stiffer charges for the people that commit crimes that aren't supposed to have guns. Do more mental health background checks. Put more resources into inner cities, in the places where drug epidemics and poverty is happening right now.
If you make harsher gun laws, it's just going to affect the poor because the poor.
No, it's
poor
not
people,
for the poor. It's you make the harsher gun laws for the people committing the crimes that aren't supposed to have the guns, not for the people that can legally own guns.
But they're probably going to be poor people who are committing crimes, because most times people who commit any kind of like violent crimes are mostly committed by.
That's like
people.
shopping at Walmart and the person that's at the door keeps asking you for your receipt. And you're like, why are you asking every last person for their receipt? Well, we keep catching these 2 people stealing, so we have to make sure not everyone's stealing. No. Fucking update your security system. If you don't, people need to stop living like I miss the old days. I miss the 90s. Put 4 security guards at the schools. You need to have security guards everywhere. Cities that have a lot of gun violence, they have security armed guards everywhere. People need to stop living in this fantasy world where everything's going to be all right and you might just make it home if you're nice to people.
So think about it like this. Okay. All right. We're trying to find a happy medium for gun laws. Basically, you said that make it harder for people to get guns.
No, right? No. Make it harsher on people that aren't supposed to have guns that get caught with them.
Like, what are you thinking? 20 years, 15 years to get caught with a gun? Break them off a whole bunch of time. You get what I'm saying? Because you're really only affecting a certain class of people who are poor and impoverished. They're the ones who are going to have guns because they live in neighborhoods where they probably require guns because they probably don't have the proper education in the neighborhood. They probably don't have the proper police protection in the neighborhood. They probably don't, you know, I mean, it's a lot of things.
No, you know what's crazy? America's kind of balanced now. Unless you're that top 1%, I'll say even 20%, everyone's neighborhood is bad now. Everyone's neighborhood is bad now.
No, I disagree. I know we agree on most things, but I definitely disagree.
I think everybody got that one house in their neighborhood where you drive by, there's 3 broke down cars in the yard. There's always a pit bull out front.
I'm talking about killers. I'm talking about people who are out here actually killing stuff, knocking stuff down.
There's tons of killers of all shapes and sizes.
Listen, where we live at, where there ain't a whole bunch of being saying people won't kill, but there ain't a whole bunch of killing going on. There's some places you go.
There's a lot of shooting.
Where there's 75 people being shot in a weekend. 75 people being shot.
Like Minneapolis?
Wherever you want to call it.
Tukwila, Washington.
In Ohio, there was a shooting. I think there was 27 people shot, 1 killed in one night. Like, it wasn't even one night. It was in one shooting. He must have had a switch or something. I don't know. But he shot 27 people, killed 1. You feel me? Like, that's
but that's what I'm saying. See, these dudes don't know how to shoot. How you gonna shoot 27 people and kill 1 person?
But let's stick to the basic premise of what
he probably turned his gun sideways.
Whatever he had to do,
cool in the movie.
But like,
we also have people that own guns that shouldn't be having guns. Just like this guy Aaron Brown Myers. You know what I'm saying? He was in a I'll just paraphrase it for you. Here in Washington, he was in a Big 5 Sporting Goods. A 17-year-old came in with an airsoft gun, and what he was doing.
Wait a minute. Let me ask a question.
Yeah,
he had a legal gun, right? He was legally able to carry his firearm, so he passed all the tests and everything through, and was able to. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. And so he saw the 17-year-old with another kid, and they had an airsoft gun. Okay. And so what he did is he shot the 17-year-old.
Okay.
Because he thought he was robbing the store.
So how do we know if this guy's not supposed to have a gun or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we know if not supposed to as far as legally, but okay, you're the type of guy who's going to shoot a 17-year-old who you see with an airsoft gun, who you believe is possibly going to, I think he thought he was going to rob the store or something.
Well, he probably saw some black youth with an airsoft gun and was like, oh, I'm going to be a hero and be, Kyle Rittenhouse, and it backfired on him. You know, you got to wait. You should have waited until the kid pointed the gun at the cashier. Then you could have been like, yeah, I'm a hero, not just pop him. You know what I'm saying? That's like shooting somebody that in Walmart with a squirt gun. Like, yo, he was going to put piss in it and spray somebody in the eyes. I believe, let me see. Let's see. He was charged with 2 felony charges and scheduled to arraign the 24th of June.
What was he charged with? Charged with murder? Or was he charged with?
Yeah, he killed the teen. He killed him.
He killed him.
Killed him.
Oh my God! All this because a person. I mean, can you?
Because the kid was coming. Yeah, the kid was coming. Okay, let's see. King County, Washington prosecuting attorney has charged a man with 2nd-degree murder and assault, both felony counts for allegedly shooting a teen he thought was holding a gun and who he believed was about to rob a sporting goods store. He didn't rob anything. Let's see. The boy was holding an airsoft gun, according to police affidavit. An airsoft gun is a replica firearm, shoots low power. Yeah, we know what that is. 2 teens were with the victim, told the police they were going to the sporting goods store to either return or exchange the airsoft gun because it was malfunctioning.
And this dude knows this is a sporting goods store, so he knows they sell these type of weapons in this store. This is not like a random place where they don't sell this type of stuff. You know that this type of stuff. I know you can go to Big Five. Back in the day, we had the little Big Five down there. They sold guns and
Oh, they
stuff.
weren't even in the store. The investigation revealed that the victim and the two other 17-year-olds were walking towards a store to return a handgun-style BB gun when the armed suspect got out of the vehicle and confronted the trio. There was an altercation that turned physical, and the suspect allegedly shot the victim multiple times.
So he walked up. You know what this sounds like to me? Reminiscent of, what's that kid's name who got killed by Zimmerman?
Oh, Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin. That sounds like Trayvon Martin. I mean, that this dude can walk, where a person can walk up on you when you're not doing anything at all, start a confrontation with you, and then feel threatened because he started a confrontation with you, asking you questions about what the hell you doing. Like, how you asking me questions about what I'm about to go do? What are you doing with this?
You should have.
Where you
like
going?
I said,
Were you the security guard? What is you, the police?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, that's crazy. He better get charged with murder.
Yeah, he's charged with murder.
Premeditated. I mean, it's gonna be the worst part about it is being charged with murder is it's like you have to have a premeditation to what you did. And that's going to be hard for them to really book him for that because they're going to say, did he feel like he was going to go murder him, or did the confrontation lead to the murder? You get what I'm saying? Or lead to the
But if you create the confrontation, I mean, when does it end? You know?
But I get what you're saying, but it's hard to catch a person for murder when it became when it's something that escalated into something else. You didn't.
I mean, but we're also
murder is intent.
Yeah, we're always going to have gun violence in America. America was created through gun violence.
But we got a lot of gun violence here. We ain't got as much as Mexico, but there's reasons why Mexico got more than we do, a lot more than we do. But at the same, because of basically Mexico got a lot of gun violence because of us.
And in the media, you know, in the mainstream media, not the real down media that we are, you know what I'm saying? Like they only report on the gun violence when it suits their political needs. Absolutely, here I'm pointing it out because, you know, you got one side, like you said, there's one side trying to take your guns, and one side they don't care
to take your guns too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to us, they try to take our guns too. They may not try and take everybody's guns, but it comes to us, they don't even step up and talk about things. When we get in trouble for certain things when it comes to guns, they're not defending any black person when it comes to that. But if it's somebody who doesn't look like, this is the NRA I'm talking about, period. Yeah. They're not stepping up for us. They don't want to be involved and seen as defending us when we have a gun rights. Or what about when Philando Castile was killed in, I think it was Minnesota.
Oh, he was in the car and the video and everything.
And he told him he had a legal gun. They should have stepped up to the plate here because it's law enforcement. They don't want to say anything. They want to stay quiet. But so us sitting back and acting like gun violence is just something we have to live with. It's not true. I feel like I said before, we need to become more familiar with firearms at a younger age. And if they're going to be in our society, then we need to start letting our kids be more familiar with firearms. So it's not a fascination with them, you know. And it's education, period. Learning how to use them, learning what they're meant for, and learning what the power of a firearm is. Not letting television teach your kids. You know, that's what I feel about it. But let me switch on this. Let me switch over to something. Plane carrying Malawi vice president and 9 others goes missing. An aircraft carrying Malawi's vice president Salos Chilima and 9 others has gone missing on Monday. The president's office said in a statement. Malawi government launched a search for the plane carrying Chilima. The Malawi Defense Force aircraft went off the radar after it departed from the capital, Lilongwe, or something like that, shortly after 9 a.m. local time. The aircraft was scheduled to land at Mzuzu International Airport in the north of the southern African nation after 10 a.m. local time. All efforts by aviation authorities to make contact with the aircraft have failed thus far. Secretary of the President, Colleen Zamba, said in a statement. After being informed of the vice president's plane going missing, Malawi's president, Lazarus Shakauri, canceled his scheduled flight to the Bahamas. This is, man, I wonder what kind of aircraft it was, first off.
You know they got shot down.
I mean, yeah, it's tough, man. Yeah, I mean, he's a vice president, though. And so, you know, what was his stance? We don't know much about this situation. I just know this is another tragic event that's happened and it's taken some leaders from a country that's I don't know much about Malawi, but I do see that you just lost 9 people, including your vice president. Luckily, it wasn't their president. Throw them into some type of chaos. All we can do is just send out prayers or whatever for the families.
First Iran, now here in Mali. Malawi, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, these things are shot down. You know what I'm saying? We've seen enough film and enough stuff to see, when they want to get rid of somebody, they know ways to do it. If it's not a plane crash, it's a submarine exploding underwater. It's somebody getting sick. I mean, they even killed the Apollo 8 astronaut. He died in a plane crash here in Washington.
It's like I said, like we keep
Think
saying,
about
man.
it. When the people had the cure for AIDS and they were flying back, they blew their plane up. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, saying we have to dig deeper into this and figure out what he was doing to understand why he was taken out like that.
Yeah, we definitely need to figure out, what's really happening, why it happened. But I mean, this is another 9 people that are dead. Period, plain and simple. So
Yeah, there's a lot
I
going
don't
on.
know.
I'd like
Say
to
okay.
I want to talk about, a little bit about wildfire smoke. It says smoke from California wildfires has killed at least 55,000 people. And are you at risk? It says scientists are sounding the alarm about PM 2.5. It's tiny smoke particles that emanate from wildfires and can travel deep into people's respiratory tracts. For those inhaling them, they can be more dangerous than the flames themselves. Research estimated at least 52,480 premature deaths from the decade of 2018. Wildfire smoke is linked to a range of health problems that can land victims in early graves. And as living here in Washington, we didn't have wildfires until about 6 years ago, but it's every summer. Every summer we have this immense smoke from these wildfires, and it's getting worse.
Every year. I mean, from Canada to Eastern Washington.
Even New
I
York.
mean,
Remember in New York, they had that
California.
wildfire from Canada and it came down and it just, it turned the sun orange. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
I
The
mean,
whole city was covered up in smoke. And we have to look at that as ourselves, like if you may not believe in climate change, but it believes in you.
absolutely. I mean, it takes your weather from being, say you're going to have an 85-degree day. Now you're going to have about a 75-degree day because it's just going to be overcast. Period.
Yeah.
It's going to be overcast, and then your car's going to have ash all over it. It's ridiculous. I mean, we've been going through this, like you said, about 6-7 years, and it's been mostly every summer, I think, except for 2020,
I think,
2020.
yeah, when we had COVID or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's the only time that we didn't really have to go through that, but it's been going on for years. I know California has been wreaking havoc on
Yeah.
California.
California's
I'm,
gonna wreak havoc on us usually too. You can see all the fires. And a lot of people don't get it. You watch movies like I like 2012. That's like one of my favorite movies to watch. And all the world gets destroyed in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And people need to realize, like, it's not a movie. This is gonna take time, and you're gonna see it piece by piece. You know what I'm saying? If it's freezing in Texas, or if you're getting what's that thing, flooding in Los Angeles out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You're getting
mhm.
hurricane category 5 hurricanes twice a year in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Or you're getting like baseball size hail in the Midwest,
Tornadoes that are going
tornadoes,
crazy right now,
massive tornadoes. Look, it's not going to be quick like in the
flooding in
movies. It's
Texas.
going to be slow and it's going to be suffering. You
Yeah, I mean,
know,
and this is the reason why you hear some people talk about, we keep talking about like, fertility rates, whatever the case. And some people are talking about depopulation. Like they feel like we have too many people here, and this is the reason why the climate's changing so rapidly. We're stretching for resources. It's probably the reason why we're having so many wars, because people need land and territory. They understand the climate's changing, so different territories are not as fertile as they once were. They can't feed as many people as they once did. That's why you see people are changing the geography of deserts now. In China, they're doing it. In the Middle East, they're doing it. They're planning they're trying to make
they're
forests in the
foresting.
desert,
Yeah,
pretty
they're
much.
foresting.
Yeah,
It's crazy, man. It's like we can always say it's like the population and all this shit. Think about it. They spent over trillions of dollars fighting wars for the last couple years. You could have took all that money and put it in agriculture, put it in foresting, put it into reconstructing land, bringing the ice back. We could have saved the planet as a planet, but people want money. Captain Planet may have been fake, but his villains are real. They're destroying
absolutely.
the planet, and then they're blaming us for it. Like we're doing something. Look at all the plastic in the ocean. They say every piece of fish that you eat out the ocean has a piece of plastic. You are
We
eating
don't,
plastic. We're eating Fisher Price seafood right now.
and no, we do. We at the same time we got inside of us we have I think they're microplastics
Microplastics, yeah.
are all inside of us right now. They're finding it in everything right now. I mean, me sitting over here drinking this out of this water bottle, I'm drinking microplastics right now, probably causing cancer and everything else. It is what it is. It's a strange world that we live in right now, but
Yeah.
this is where the world is heading. I wanted to if you're done with that one, I want to switch over real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will France's snap elections hurt the Paris Olympics? On Sunday, French President Emmanuel Macron dissolved the National Assembly and called for a snap election following an exit poll indicating that his Renaissance Party might lose to their far-right opposition in the parliament elections. The decision comes weeks before the Paris Olympics and has left the city's mayor stunned. French President Macron, same thing, announced that he's basically dissolving his government because he took what's been happening is a lot of far right groups in the EU or in Europe have been winning, have kind of been knocking off the more left-leaning Democratic kind of, we want to stay together. We want to allow in maybe some more immigrants type governments. And like in Norway, they have a more of a far right government that just came into power. These guys are more like, we're against being in the EU. They want to leave the EU type government. People are coming into power. They don't want war with Russia and other countries like that. This is what's kind of starting to evolve over in Europe right now, and it's kind of probably very concerning, especially with where the climate is with everything that's going on today. And so Macron, I think he's trying to get ahead of it. He's just basically like, you know what? He's part of the leading party, but at the same time, I feel like he saw the writing on the wall. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna give everybody a chance to re-vote again. I'm gonna dissolve my party, and we're gonna see what the people want. That's a smart way for him to stay in power.
Well, I mean, it's happening. You're right. It's happening all over the Europe, because I remember even in Ireland, dude, they had a hotel earmarked for housing 70 asylum seekers, and then an immigrant came and he killed 2 kids and a lady, and so they started rioting and having a riot there. They burned the hotel. You know what I'm saying? They're just the people. They're scared. You know, a lot of them are scared. You know, especially Europeans. You know, like they're in fear. Yep. They're like, yo, what's happening to my beautiful place? What happened here? I mean, well, that's. I mean, it's kind of crazy how you get to watch the new form of colonization. As you're going, you know,
and they're saying this is right before the Paris Olympics. I'm wondering how this is going to turn out, because you know that Macron's been really talking reckless to Putin, real reckless. I mean, hey, I might send some French troops over to Ukraine to help fight. Putin's and say, you know what? I don't care if your French troops are there just as like people who are trying to assist or trying to help. They're fair game.
Now, Putin ain't going to do nothing at the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? There's too many different countries there. You bomb the Olympics, you know how many different country people you kill? Then you have everybody after you. Now, I'll say this, though. If Russia and China don't show up to the Olympics, America doesn't need to either. All right, you be like, pack in here? Now I'm out too, homie. I'm out.
Hey, I'm be honest with you. That's when you send in proxies. That's when you send in your proxy government, the Chechens or someone else to go do it. And you can step back and be like, hey, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Send in somebody, because this is one of your perfect timings. You don't want Paris to look good right now. You really don't. But I'm wondering if Russia's
think about last time they had the Olympics. That's when he invaded some other country after they had the Olympics. I think that's when he came after Ukraine.
I think were the Olympics in Russia?
They were in Russia, and then after that, no, that's when he invaded Crimea. He was like, all right, everybody, see you later. Yo, get the tanks. Let's go.
Dude is out of control, man. I'm not. It's just
he's aggressive, bro. It's like, I mean, our country's out of control.
Yeah,
you know, we getting punked by a foreign government. At least he's like, I ain't taking nobody's shit.
Even when you look at like these coalition governments around the world have been kind of falling, even with Modi, Prime Minister Modi, over in India, it's the same things happening with him. He lost a good part of his coalition party too. He's one of the more popular, besides El Salvador's president, the guy who arrested all the gang members and built a 60,000 person prison down there and arrested everybody, took everybody.
That's a lot of gang members, bro. Like, how many people do they have? It
wasn't even all gang members. I won't get back to Modi in a second, but there's a dude who's talking about his daughter. He's like, my daughter's just hanging out with people and she's in jail too right now. So he just arrested everybody. He don't care.
He's guilty by association.
But if I go, I'm saying,
you go in the store stealing and I can't carpool with you, they're gonna take me too. I'm like, I didn't need a PlayStation. I got 6.
Listen, she might not even been with them where they were at. They're just picking up.
Wesley out here stealing underwear, and I'm going to jail too.
Hey, what I'm saying though, bro, it's they're acting like he's on Tucker Carlson's show. They're acting like this dude is the most famous, most popular president in the world right now. Everyone's pumping him up. He's giving him and Donald Trump are kind of like buddy, but not, they, I don't know if they've spoken or not, but I know they're like aligning together.
Trump looks at all these dictators. He's like, I like what Putin do. Yeah. I like what Kim Jong-un does. I like what this guy's doing. You want to know why? Because he's like, he's about to implement it. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and coming on our future show, we're gonna talk about that Project 2025. Because that ain't got nothing for nobody in here.
Absolutely. We got to get on that one too. That's a pretty big subject. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. You'll do a little research for everybody. Tomorrow. We're going to talk about Project 2025 if you haven't heard about that yet, because that's going to affect all of us.
Absolutely. I mean that it's a huge thing, and this we really just like need to like start just looking around the world and kind of seeing what is going on, what's happening, and really start taking a heed to things are changing rapidly right now, and
Yeah.
they're not all changing in America's best interest right now, and so we really need to be paying attention. So we really need to vote our interest as a
Yeah,
people.
that or we need to get these old dinosaurs out of here, get some young bloods that actually want to work and not listen to people that just want to split the country. We need to come back together as a country. We have our differences.
Where were we
Yeah,
together?
when were
Tell me
were we
where
together? Yeah.
where were we together? You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe we'll go back. Maybe we'll go down to Byron Donaldson. Maybe we'll go down his trail and talk about maybe Jim Crow when things were good for us.
Nope,
Then
ain't
when
nothing gonna
things,
happen. That never gonna happen. You think we gonna go back?
that's what they want, man. That's what they're looking for right now. That's what that
Mm-mm.
Project 2020 is 2025 is talking about. That's exactly what it's talking about, is a backwards view. So yeah.
They want to go back. Well, let us know what y'all think in the comments. Like, listen, subscribe. Uncommon courtesy.